there was like a little too much realism for the type of
Yeah,
fantasy that I was expecting or
yeah.
wanting. Um,
So
like,
me going into it, knowing what a changeling is, I was expecting more fantasy and more supernatural, and I was expecting more of that world, and I got none of it. A pause. Do you think that we should do like some sort of like spoiler, like
Spoilers in words at the
yeah,
very beginning.
hi, everybody. Welcome to the season finale, episode 10 of 2Chicks 2Cents. In this episode, we're going to be reviewing our last TV show of the season, The Changeling. Hopefully, you watched it with us, but if not, we'll help you decide whether it's worth watching or not. And as always, I'm your host, Tiffany, and this is my lovely friend and co host, Delilah.
Hey. If you were not here last week, we talked about the 1990s movie, Total Recall, with Arnold Schwarzenegger. We loved it. If you would like to check out our take, it's going to be all down below in the links, like everything always is. Yeah, let's get into today's episode. It's going to be about the show, The Changeling, on Apple TV, not the movie with Angelina Jolie.
Correct.
Let's get into our description.
In the TV show Changeling, a rare book dealer named Apollo Kagwa meets a librarian named Emma who is later cursed by a witch. Soon after, they are married and have a son. Emma notices that there is something wrong with the baby and, under the guidance of the wise ones, decides to do something about it. In the aftermath of what seems like his wife's terrifying postpartum episode, Apollo is left with no choice but to embark on a nightmarish journey to find answers and reclaim his family. The Changeling is a chilling blend of horror, fantasy, and suspense that will keep you on the edge of your seat. All right then. So, I actually forgot to tell you all last week that Delilah and I went to go see the movie Twisters in theaters, and that was for my birthday. I picked it. We both did not like it.
Yeah.
In fact, I actually think that that movie ruined the old one for me, unfortunately.
I still have
But
never seen the old one, but I just thought that it was such a hilarious experience because we both like were so like when you get like that cringy feeling or that secondhand embarrassment, we both were feeling that way, but then the movie theater was going wild. The ladies were loving this movie
They
and I was
clapped at the end.
they clapped at the end and they were like, this is so amazing, this is so great, like standing ovation, and we both were sitting there just like cracking jokes the whole time, questioning everything. Like, it wasn't a good movie in my opinion, and I was the whole time I was thinking like, man, it's Tiffany's birthday. This movie's not good. And then you hear like the rumbles of like Wolverine and Deadpool next door, and I'm like, we should be over there. Oh, it's
Yes,
so
Delilah
funny.
was questioning my choices in the beginning, but um I
We had some
wanted
good
to see
laughs.
it. We had some great laughs. I had so much fun. Like, I don't even care that it was a bad movie. I actually had expectations that it was going to be like really cheesy. I was like, I don't expect this to be really good at all. I did expect the action scenes to be like really cool, kind of like the old one was. But they were kind of like, and there weren't enough in there to make me feel like it was like an action-packed movie and excited adrenaline pumping like I was kind of expecting. So
For
that's how it
me,
went.
the main character girl, I found myself like wishing that she would just get out of here. I was like, girl, you are ruining this, you are ruining everything, you're ruining it. And then I felt bad because like I was like, man, like this actress, I just felt like she fell flat. And I'm like, I hope that this wasn't your breakout something. Like, I don't know who you are, but I hope that this wasn't your breakout something because I really don't think that this is gonna do what you thought it was gonna do for you. Because everybody was just cheering for the guy. Like the I don't know his name, the white
I
guy.
don't remember either.
I can look
He
it
looks
up.
like a Chris. He's not a Chris. He's a.
He does look like a Chris though. The main character guy, his name is Glenn Powell. He's a Glenn.
Glenn.
In the movie, his name is Tyler. That's a
Oh,
normal,
he
you know,
looks like a
name.
Tyler. Yeah.
Yeah. But so I'm annoyed because on the thing, like I was like there more so for Anthony Ramos. He plays Javi, like the other main character guy. Like I felt like he should have got more, just more in general. But because I love him from the musical Hamilton, and I'm just like he's so talented, he's so great, like, and so I just thought that he deserved more. But everybody was all on Tyler, and I'm like, you don't even know that Javi has the voice of an angel. You just don't even know.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. And then the pictures of like the whole cast, everybody has a picture but him. There's
But
no
Javi,
picture. Yeah.
he had a
Anthony
significant
Ramos.
role.
Yeah. He's the third
Wow.
like person on there, the cast list, no picture. Feel like we're doing
Yeah.
him dirty.
Anyway, let's get into this week's TV show. So Delilah, let's do, the scale of 1 to 10, like right up front. What was your rating of this TV show?
I'm gonna give it a solid like 7.5. Because I do really like I wanna know what happens. But while I am, we all know, the biggest Supernatural fan and everything, this one it kind of just left me sad. I'm like this is kind of like because it was just very dark and it was very grim and it was kind of sad and it wasn't a fun Supernatural something that you normally would watch, like, so while if there is a second season, I will be watching it for sure. But now I know going into it, this isn't gonna be Vampire Diaries. This isn't gonna be this isn't gonna be any of the shows that you like normally watch that you're just like, oh, this is great.
Was this one that you was recommended to you, or was this a show
Yeah,
you just okay? Who recommended this to you?
my sister-in-law, the same one that recommended the movie Mother.
Okay.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
got a dark side I didn't know about.
A little bit, a little bit. And then also, my sister-in-law and my brother recommended the show Severance.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
so
great
it's
show.
like, I think they really like shows that you like have to think about and that you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna talk
And
about
really pay
afterwards.
attention to.
I now like having these couple of like recommendations from them, watching them, I'm like, okay,
Okay,
okay.
I see you.
You guys don't like light things. I'm I'm a very light, happy-go-lucky romance kind of girl. But now I know.
I gave it a 6. I gave it a 6.
Okay.
Yeah. For me, I think that it was a great story, and it was intriguing. It was really depressing and stuff too at the same time. But I feel like there were things that they could have done a little bit better to make certain things a little bit more clear. And then also, I really just did not like the back and forth jumping through time kind of style of filming. Some
Mm-hmm.
parts of it were a little bit confusing, like with the wife Emma, her backstory. That was one that jumped around, I think, a little too much. And then there were some like creative choices with the episode with the mom that I was like, I'm just not feeling this. Um, I understand,
That episode did feel incredibly long.
really long, and it kind of felt, it had like theater vibes, like you were going to see like a live play, like that's how they do things. It's just these long like monologue type things, and they're just like they have the other person in the background inputting some stuff. So that's kind of what it felt like, and maybe that was their intent, like they were trying to do like a, a creative take and add something different. But for me, I was like, it's just,
I just felt like they did it for too long.
yes.
I'm like you totally could have done this or like however you wanted, but just like you made this last too long.
Yeah. I think that the end of
A
that
whole
episode,
episode, and I feel like that episode was way longer than the very last episode, because that's like the second to last episode.
I
I was like,
felt
this
like
is
they were building up to this like revelation that she killed her husband. But then when it actually happened, it was so anticlimactic. Like it was so quick. Like they just showed her hit it and then it was over. They didn't let you kind of like soak in the
and the
gravity of
clips were
it.
so quick. Like whenever you
Yes.
finally see that the husband tried to kill the son, and then so she killed him in self-defense, but it's just like clips of like it was like flashes of it. I wouldn't even say clips. It was a flash, so you kind of had to. I even paused, rewound, and then I was like, oh, like what the hell?
It just makes it a little confusing and jarring and like it doesn't flow well for like the emotional buildup. Like when you jump around so much like that, you're cutting off that audience like anticipation and
Mm-hmm.
the ultimate like clincher. The climax is just
And
kind of
then especially because like she kept telling him that she had something to talk to him about. We saw like in almost every single episode him having a nightmare of that moment. And it's like the build up, you didn't give me climax. Like
yeah,
the for all of this build up, you didn't give me what you should have gave me. You should have gave me an in-depth, clear vision of what happened.
yeah, yeah. I agree.
That whole episode, I told my husband because he watched it with me, and like, and he was saying like it was very good. The show is very it's very captivating, but they could have did a couple things just better. And then
Yeah,
in that moment, like they yeah, the show is very good
it
though,
is. It's very
but they
good.
just could have did some things different. And so so that's what I was gonna say. That episode with the mom, I was telling my husband, I was like, this episode feels like a book of poems, and he
Hmm.
was like, that's a good way to describe it. Each poem makes sense, but if you just flip through a book of poems and just read the whole thing, it's kind of
Jumpy.
like a lot. It's
Oh,
a yeah, it's very jumpy, and it's a lot to kind of decipher, because like a poem and a riddle and all that stuff, they don't just up front tell you. You're supposed to like gather throughout and interpret. And that's what I felt like this episode wanted you to do. Gather throughout and interpret what's happening, because then even like in the very end of that episode, and then the mom's like outside and she watches her past self walk by, and like she's like, all right, like let's move on or whatever. And then we go into the hotel, and the hotel's actually abandoned, and like it's not in use anymore and everything. And I'm like, so did you spend the night there or not? Like, did you just go there and relive this memory,
I thought it was
and that's it?
a little confusing that her old boss was like the guy taking names and stuff. Um,
And then
that
the
wasn't really clear.
husband
And
was the guy dying in the bed, and
yeah,
just like, yeah, I
and
don't
then the other
it,
guy, William, the creepy guy, he was there too.
yeah, he was
Yeah,
like gonna kill the
the
like
hooker.
transvestite or something, a hooker, just all of these things. Like I'm like, this wasn't clear. And then in the end, as I sat and thought about it, I was like, I think what's happening is she's reliving that night, and they're just putting characters from our story now playing these parts,
Yeah, because sometimes your
and
brain does that when
that's it.
you're dreaming. Like
Mm-hmm.
people who don't make sense end up in your dreams sometime telling you things
Yeah.
or doing things. Yeah. The Olsen twins were in my dream the other night. I was like, that's weird. Why? One of the twins broke the heel of her shoe while she was like running. And then the whole rest of the dream, I'm like trying to find these other heels that she can wear. And it's really frustrating because none of my stuff is where it's supposed to be. And then when I'm trying to, like, I finally get the shoe and I'm like trying to find them so I could give her the shoe. And I can't figure out my phone. Like, have you ever tried to work your phone in your dream? Like,
It
it
doesn't
takes
work. And then like when
forever.
you're trying to call 911, or you're trying to run
Yes.
and you're in sludge, like,
Yep. Yep.
no, I've been having a lot of dreams recently about like all my friends in Arizona.
Oh,
So weird. I've been like dreaming about them a lot like the past couple of nights, and I wake up every day and I'm like, that's not real. Like, why are and then I'm like, why am I dreaming about everybody so much? Like all my friends in Arizona. I've just been having so many dreams about them.
probably just
So,
miss them.
probably.
Yeah. So tell me more about the things that you really, really liked about the movie or show. Sorry.
I loved the concept of the show. Because like so whenever I was talking to my sister-in-law about the show, she was like, "Yeah, I watched the show, like it was really good." She's like, "But it wasn't what I was expecting." And then she told me the title of the show is like The Changeling, and she showed me the thing. And I was like, "Oh, well," I was like, "Is it about like a baby being switched?" And she was like, "Yeah, how did you know that?" And I was like, because I watch a lot of supernatural stuff. I was like, well, usually a changeling is when like fae folk take your baby and replace it with one of their babies. And whether it's a dark something or a happy something, like it just kind of depends on the movie, but that's usually what a changeling is. She's like, well, that is what it is about. And I was like, oh, cool. And she's like, had I known that from the beginning, she's like, I would have went into it with a different mindset. But she didn't know that going into it. And I was like, okay, well, since I do, maybe like, it'll be a different experience for me. So yeah, I love the concept of it. Like, but I just expected I loved the concept, but I think that I wanted just more information and less mystery. I
Hmm.
like a mystery is great, but you guys are giving me mystery at every single turn. I don't know about him. I don't know about his mom. I don't know about his dad. I don't know about his wife. I don't know about this baby. I don't know about his friend. It's like I don't know anything. And usually, like whenever I'm watching something like supernatural like this, say something occurs, usually you end up either in the mortal world or in the supernatural world, and you're getting information, you're not getting more mystery. That
Yeah.
was the thing that was really throwing me, but I loved the concept of it. And I loved some of the people in it, like the main character guy. I think he's a really great actor. And then it was cool whenever we saw Cal, and I was like, "Hey, look, it's Lois." And my husband's like, "Who's Lois?" And I was like, "Malcolm in the Middle, the mom, it's Lois." And then I was like, "Oh, I love her." And then I liked like I liked whenever they're going from, so like they're like on the island, and they're like, okay, so technically you can see New York and everything, but you've actually gone through a portal and we're actually nowhere near New York. I thought that was very cool. I thought including like the mole people in
The
New York or
underground.
whatever,
Yeah, I
which like
like that.
everybody thinks that these are real, which I think mole people are real. I,
Did you
I
hear
think.
on social media they talked about how this one guy, he's like, there are Jewish people under the ground beneath me. And people were just like, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're racist, what is this? But then they discovered that they had like a Hasidic Jew like meeting ground underneath. Like it was like some illegal area or something. But, and then
Yeah.
on social media, he's like, I think you all owe me an apology.
Yeah,
He
he's like,
wrote
I was not like, I feel like I lightly saw about that. Like I saw like one video and that was it. And then I had like a little chuckle and I moved on. I was
right,
like,
right.
but I feel like it's very often like they fight, especially because I was telling my husband, I was like, I totally believe it, because like as time goes on, we build on top, on top, on top, on top, on top. That doesn't mean the things below are gone.
Right.
And then like we have such a huge like unhoused population in the US. So where do you think these people are going? They're not just all of a sudden getting everything together and buying houses. Like some, but not all. And then also like whenever you talk about like the catacombs in Paris and stuff, like those places are real. So it's very likely that maybe somebody just decided to pop a squat. So
Yeah.
whenever we're seeing the the people living underground, I thought that was very fun. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
that was about it.
I liked Emma, and in like, so the first episode, it's a lot is covered in that, and then like at the end she has this like crazy insane birth on the train, and then the very next episode she's like crazy in the beginning, and
Mm-hmm.
like she looks like super worn and like just not okay. And then she goes, and there's all this mystery, like what is going on. I thought that was a really great transition, because I was like, holy crap, like what happened in between that and this to get her there. um so that was one instance where I feel like the time jump was done well. But then I felt a little confused because I don't think that they connected it well like showing that transition, showing her kind of like I didn't really understand.
Yeah, she was okay, and then she was uh
all of a
dead,
sudden
like not dead, but she was just like, she was very extreme, and it happened very quickly. Like there was no middle. It was like very extreme.
Yeah,
I
so
agree with
like
that.
if they like I remember seeing her typing and she's like researching on the computer. And she's researching, you know, like I had to pause him because I was reading like the things that were popping up. And one of them had to do with like um my baby's an angel when he's with my husband, but then with me he's a nightmare or whatever. But they didn't show any of that happening to her. Like,
Yeah,
so I thought she was just, you know, going down the rabbit hole like a new mom, you know, just reading these blogs and forums and stuff. They didn't show her own experiences of this child giving her trouble.
we
So
only lightly saw it after she was done,
after
like
she was
when she was
already,
crazy.
yes,
Yeah,
and
when she
then,
already lost it.
yeah. So I thought that could have been a little bit better. Yeah.
And I think that they kind of, without saying it, they kind of, like, the sister and the husband, they were telling her that she needs to go to therapy and she needs to get help. And they were alluding to, like, postpartum, like, and I've been through those things and it's like, cool. But I feel like they should have just said it. That was another instance where I was like, you guys are alluding to things, but not everybody knows about these things. That's why I felt like, I was like, oh, I understood this part. But other people probably wouldn't. Somebody that's never been through postpartum or never been like in this situation or around somebody in this situation, they're like, why are they telling her to get therapy, or why are they saying that something's wrong with her? Like,
Right.
I,
And
I felt
that
like that
makes you
was an
just,
instance where that didn't need to be a mystery, that you could have just told us.
yeah, and they just kind of made her feel just crazy
Yeah.
and not heard. And that's,
Yeah.
yeah, that
And
makes it
then, and
worse.
I'm like, she's saying a lot of the same things over and over again. I don't understand. And that's one thing that I never get in like a lot of shows. If somebody's like, hey, I need to talk to you, or they're like telling me something and like they keep telling me something, like, I don't understand how they never just paused and listened to her and made her feel heard, or like went through like, okay, say whatever you're saying is happening. Let's look that up real quick. Because I feel like in a normal healthy family, and that's what you guys were trying to portray, like a loving healthy family, you would listen to your partner. You wouldn't just right away throw them to the dirt. Like,
Yeah.
I just felt like that was like very quick. And then he had to go and hear it from the exact same things that she was saying from other people to then take them seriously.
Yeah. The
But
whole
she's the love of
camera
your life,
thing.
and you waited all this time for her. And
Yeah. The whole like thing where she was trying to say like there was a picture that you sent me of this. He didn't even like explore that a little further.
bad night.
The fact that she knew exactly what had happened and why he like obviously there was a picture. Obviously you didn't take that picture, so who took the picture? Like it didn't
And that's
even
what I
raise
kept,
any
me and my
alarm
husband both
bells.
were, we were both like, how would she know that?
How would
Like
she
why are you
know that?
listening? Like, how would she know if she didn't see a picture? You think she's just like following you around? How would she know? Like, that was the thing. And I feel like in a normal, like with a normal friend or a normal family or something, you would be like, well, hold on, like that's weird what you're saying, but obviously it's true, because how else would you know that?
Yeah, so let's explore that. That's really weird and creepy. Maybe I should watch my back, you know? Like, not set my baby on the
You
ground
would
while I
think.
go
You
work.
would you would think.
Yeah.
But
But yeah.
yeah, so that was like some of the stuff I was like, that's not believable to me, but all right, that's,
Yeah.
I'm like, my husband would never, I would
Yeah.
never, like, to my friends, I'm like, obviously you just need it. Even if I don't believe you, I could still hear you out.
Mhm. Right.
That's the thing.
Right.
It's like, if I don't believe you, or I don't understand, or I don't agree, or whatever, you're my friend, or you're my partner, or you're my loved one. I can at least hear you out.
Yeah. That when she said like I don't remember the exact words, but she was something about you're not hearing me or whatever.
Oh, she was
So,
like, you don't see, but you
you know,
will.
no, not that part. It was before that.
Oh,
After he said like take some meds or something.
And No one's gonna believe me. I know that now.
He didn't even respond to that fact that she felt that way. I was just like heartbroken for her.
I just was like we said, like, it was very quick, like, transitions, because how do you pursue someone for months and then wait for them for, we don't even know how long, it was like at least a year, and then break off this magical bracelet without asking me, without even like
deal
waiting
breaker.
a moment, without anything, like, and that scene really pissed me and my husband off. Like, I was just like, why would you, like, she wasn't even finished telling her story and you were just like, I'm gonna cut it off.
I'm the god of Paula.
You didn't even ask me. I was like, obviously I've been wearing it for 6 months, so like I was cool having it. Like, you didn't even ask me if I wanted you to do that or if I believed in it or anything. But like, how do you do all these things? Go with me through pregnancy, deliver my baby. Like, how do you do all of these things and then you don't listen to me, or like all of a sudden, like almost like the flip of a switch, you don't love me anymore, you don't care to hear me, you're taking my kid from me, and you're throwing me away when you clearly think that I need help and that I'm going through something.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't.
The other thing I
Doesn't make
kind of
any
felt
sense.
about this show was that it was there was like a little too much realism for the type of fantasy that I was expecting or wanting.
So like, me going into it, knowing what a changeling is, I was expecting more fantasy and more supernatural, and I was expecting more of that world, and I got none of it.
It seems like just like our actual reality here, stuff that isn't really seen.
And people are like, yeah, these things happen.
And then you just think you're crazy, and yeah.
That's what, and I think, like, you just said it perfectly. That's what I think that I was upset about. It was that I'm like, I didn't get any of the supernatural stuff. Even like whenever they're like, oh, we're witches, whenever he went to see Cal or whatever, I saw no magic. I saw no witchy behavior. And they're like, oh, maybe we're witches in the sense that we're women that have done impossible things. And I'm like, okay.
Okay, so you're like a normal person.
Yeah. And then whenever she finally gets to the forest and she probably has found where they're keeping all the kids, all the changelings, we didn't even get to see that because the movie or the show ends.
Yep.
We gotta hope
even those things
that
were chasing
for a
them
season.
And destroying their
we never
town.
see it. It looks like wind. We never like the actual the thing. Like, this show is about supernatural things happening or whatever, but we don't actually get to see any of the supernatural stuff.
I think the one thing that was close enough to that, or sort of touched on it, was William when he like transformed into the other person, kind of. Yeah.
That's the only thing that we sort of see, and that's just him looking crazy.
Yeah, basically.
That's kind of very, like, that's very kind of
creepy.
Underwhelming. Yeah. And like, if I see something says sci-fi or supernatural or fantasy, I'm expecting to see those things, not just it being alluded to.
Implied.
And that's
I don't
want to
use my imagination if I'm watching something.
It
seemed low budget. It might have been low budget. That was probably
maybe.
it. And then maybe next season we'll get a little more, because if they had some really good engagement, then they'll have more money.
Maybe. Yeah. From what I see, from all the things that I've watched on Apple Plus TV, like, they do have some really great stories, really great actors, really great camera quality, but it is like a lot of mystery actually. In like all the things that I've watched on Apple, I'm just like, give me it, give me the whole story. What you doing? Like, they're very good at that, like not giving you anything. This show has such a cool concept. And I feel like the only other, like, off the top of my head, like, that I can remember a show talking about or like being a little bit about like changeling is this the show is called Wink Saga or something like that. That show, the main girl, she is a changeling, I'm pretty sure. if I'm remembering correctly. She's a changeling, and so we see a little bit about that, and it's kind of like taboo, like whatever, but she's like at this fairy school and all this shit, learning about
But
her
she's a
powers,
human?
and you're like, cool. No, she's fairy,
Oh,
but she grew up
okay.
with humans, so she
Okay.
was changed. But
Okay.
like, so you get to see like the other side of it. You see the magic. You're starting to hear like the story behind it and all. You're like, cool. You're getting answers and you're getting to see like the supernatural stuff. But this one, you're getting none of that. Nothing. None of that. And then I'm feeling like there's some sort of epidemic because every other woman they're passing on the street is going crazy and saying that it's not their baby. I was like,
Yeah.
you guys got an infestation.
Mm-hmm.
Because normally it's just like a 1 out of 100, but in this world, in this show, it's every other lady on the street that's not her kid. Okay, so this right here says, last fall at New York's Comic-Con, showrunner Kelly Marcel told Hollywood Reporter that the show was written to be told in 2 seasons.
Okay.
But is there going to be a second season?
Hopefully, what they did was they did the contract with whatever producers for 2 seasons. Hopefully, they did it that way so we at least get the conclusion of the story. But if it's like normal TV shows and they kind of have to like win you over, then maybe not.
So everything just says that the show was written to be told in 2 seasons, and all of your questions get answered in the second season.
Okay.
Uh,
That's cool. Well, that to
that's
me
it.
that means more action.
And it's not confirmed to release on Apple TV anytime soon as of now. That's what I'm saying. So we might have to wait to get them answers. I definitely will watch the second season. I do want the answers. We'll probably just do a little short segment for you guys just to let you know what ends up happening if it ever happens.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's what I got. That's all that.
That's
Google
all I got
has for
too.
us.
I think that's all for this episode.
Just to recap, we liked the show, but the show had a lot of mystery. You don't honestly get any answers. And you don't get to see the supernatural aspects, so like that's kind of a letdown. But it is a really great show, so definitely check it out.
It's interesting, intriguing. A lot of stuff happens, and great performances by the actors and actresses.
Yes.
Definitely, I would still say it's worth the watch, especially if you like those actors.
If you love a mystery, if you're looking for something new, and if you're looking for something that you can binge in a day, definitely check it out.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, thank you for watching. We don't have a drawing for this episode because it's our season finale, but we do have something exciting for to kick off season 2. You might have noticed that we didn't really have a theme or anything. We just kind of picked random movies. We were kind of getting our feet wet and seeing what works for this show. But we do have an idea for next season, and I'll let Delilah tell you all about it.
So, I'm actually very excited because this just feels like it's going to be so fun for us and you guys. So, for next season, we're thinking that our theme will be movies that occurred before the 2000s. So, anything before 2000s, we're going to check out, and we're probably going to focus more on the 80s and 90s just to keep it a little bit relevant. And our first movie that we're going to talk about is going to be the movie Beetlejuice.
Yay!
And we're doing this because the new Beetlejuice movie comes out on September 6th. So we're thinking that we're going to go watch the new movie, maybe do a little vlog for you guys. And then we're going to compare it to the old one and see how the story goes together and how they do it. And we think that this will be so exciting to talk about the new movie and the old movie, and to kick off our theme of this pre-2000s. And yeah, and it's something that you guys can do with us. You can watch the old Beetlejuice, and then you can also go see the new movie.
Yes. And if you have any 80s or 90s recommendations, we definitely want to hear those. We want to add those into our drawing. So please do that. And let us know how you liked season 1.
Let us know. Talk to us.
Yes.
This has been very, very fun, very exciting, and we're just doing something we regularly do, but now we're just recording it.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks for sticking with us this long. This has been a very fun first season. I'm Delilah. This is Tiffany.
Thanks again for all your support, and we look forward to seeing you in the next season. Bye.
Bye.